Now clear that the big winner in Tuesday's Iowa caucuses was not Romney nor Santorum, but rather Citizens United in its debut on the presidential election stage. The Supreme Court, in that ruling, had mathematically by far the biggest impact on the Iowa race. In fact, more money was spent on Iowa super PAC ads than by any individual candidate, and all that super PAC money was used in the brilliant way that it can be used, not to get something done, but to make sure something never happens. Destruction. This is a race to the bottom, and the money is used to destroy people, in this case, Newt Gingrich. Before the attack ads from the super PACs were teed up, Gingrich is polling at 26%, putting him in first place. But after $3 million in negative super PAC ads, Gingrich ended up in fourth place Tuesday night, after getting that rat-tat-tat of that super PAC assassination money just because, well, somebody had to go. And he was the man on this one. It's why we call it Auction 2012. It's not just bidding your way up. It's using the money to annihilate the very reputation of a candidate who could be in your way. In this case, if you're Romney, I annihilate Newt Gingrich, and now I'm good to go. Joining us now, Paul Blumenthal, editor of the Huffington Post's Fundraise. It is a website that lets all of us track who is donating how much to which candidates. Now, what exactly are we tracking, though? As we talk about how there's all this anonymous money, what are you able to track, and what do we learn when we look at that site, Paul?
Well, when we look at the site, you can track a whole host of kinds of campaign contributions. You can type in your zip code and look up, who is giving money in your neighborhood, and who's giving money to these super PACs, and a whole host of other things. We also have a daily newsletter that goes out to help inform people about advertisements that this money helps to purchase.
That's fantastic. I'm going to say that is a wonderful asset, not only for me, but I think for a lot of folks who have becoming more and more aware of just how auction-driven this election process is, but have not been able to really expose the nasty, horny toad-laden underbelly of all this nonsense. And I think that we're starting to see that now with technology like what you're talking about and some other things that we're seeing in development. Walk us through the relevance of anonymous super PAC money, not just to build up a candidate, to say Dylan's great or Paul's great or whoever it is, but as a weapon to annihilate a single individual, as an assassination weapon to ensure power dynamics and the preservation of the status quo, basically.
Well, that's exactly what we saw in Iowa with the pro-Romney PAC, Restore Our Future. And you had this group that has come in, and they've spent about $3.3 million, which is just unprecedented, not just on negative advertising, but just in advertising for an outside group alone to spend in the Iowa caucuses. They spent this all to defeat Newt Gingrich. And if you sort of think about the Romney campaign as they're trying to build a railroad, well, you got to get somebody to blow up the mountains. And in this case, they have a super PAC that, can draw up millions of dollars. It has no other purpose except to spend money on television advertisements. And it can just blow up mountains like Newt Gingrich or Rick Perry or anybody else who gets in their way.
Now, those who would disagree with what we're talking about would say, listen, the money didn't blow up Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich blew up Newt Gingrich because Newt Gingrich is a terrible guy and all these different things. Or Rick Perry didn't blow up Rick Perry. Rick Perry, or money didn't blow up Rick Perry. Rick Perry blew up Rick Perry. How do you draw the line between those, especially in an MSNBC audience, who are like, well, of course, it's a good thing they blew up Newt Gingrich, they'll be saying, I hate that guy, he's a terrible. How do you distinguish between the pleasure of watching the money destroy somebody you don't like with the reality of the fact that you don't live in a democracy, and that very weapon that just destroyed the guy you don't like may next be the gun pointed at the guy that you do?
Well, I think that one of the main issues here is how the candidate who benefits gets to do this all at an arm's length. They don't have to get their hands dirty while their friends beat up on all of the other candidates and say what maybe the candidate should be having to say. I mean, the ads against Newt Gingrich were some of the most honest attack ads in history. Most of that is just Gingrich's record laid out plain. And perhaps Romney should have been the one saying that instead of running around talking about American optimism with a big smile on his face.
Have we turned into just a bunch of chicken hawks? Are we just we're like a bunch of people. We never want to confront each other belly to belly. I'm going to have my friends go in and anonymously call you names, and then I'm going to run back to my camp and we're going to talk about all the names that we called you. Are we really just a nation, at least a political nation, of chicken hawks?
I mean, I think that there is this issue where you have the candidates who are able to step away from the negative ads. They don't have to get their hands dirty anymore, and they can just, you know, let their friends and the billionaires and the millionaires that pay for these ads to just take care of their opponents.
Man, it seems like an awesome way to accumulate power. It just doesn't strike me as a particularly great way to run a democracy. Paul, you do great work at the Huffington Post, and I congratulate you on the launch of this, or I don't know if it's a launch, but the initiation of this fundraise product for this election. Congratulations on that.